Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jeff from MadHattersReef.com, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the most expensive mistake that I've made in the hobby to date. And what I want for you to get out of this video is basically the opportunity to avoid this if you can. And I'm not even sure why I did it at the time, but looking back at it, it kind of irks me a little bit now, and it's a sore spot. And it is a mistake that I have made on the 260-gallon system. And the reason I'm sharing it is because I want you to be able to avoid it so you don't go down the same path that I did. Now, most of you are aware that I bought the tank used. And when I bought the tank used, I paid $500 for the tank, the heater, and the lights for the tank, which in my opinion is an awesome deal. And the stand I built myself, it was something that it's basically just framed out right now, and I really haven't had a need to cover it up, and that's probably going to be something that I do at the end anyways, just because I want to take my time and make sure that I do it right. But when I was designing my stand, I had a different idea in mind as to how I was going to wrap it, and what that caused me to do was make the stand much shorter than I probably would have if I didn't have something else in mind. So in the end, the stand is short. And when I had to start thinking about what I was going to put in the sump, I had to think about the height, and it limited me on a lot of equipment, what would actually fit under there. But I was lucky enough to find the Aquamax Cone S Q3, which is a beast of a protein skimmer, and it was able to fit under the stand. So I was at a good point. I had a stand built, and I found a protein skimmer that was going to fit under that stand. The next thing to do was to design the sump. When I sat down with a piece of paper, I kept three things in mind. One, I knew what I had for space under the stand. Wasn't a lot, but I could kind of cheat it by making the sump a lot longer than what you typically see a sump being. The second piece was the protein skimmer, and I knew the height that I had to work with. I knew the footprint that I was going to have. I just needed to know how much water it needed to operate properly. And the third consideration when I was designing the sump is when the power shut off, how much water that was going to drain from the top of the tank down to the sump, and it being able to handle that without overflowing and flooding the room that the fish tank is in. So with this information, I basically came up with these two sketches. And once I had them drawn out, I brought them to a guy that I knew that was making sumps. And basically, through the conversation, there was a couple adjustments that we needed to make. But overall, I felt good about it. And after about 3 weeks or so, I had my custom sump ready to go. So I get a call from the guy, and he tells me basically, he never really quoted me any price, but the price for the sump was $400. And when you think about my display tank, my lights, and my heater, which I paid $500 for, I almost doubled my cost of the total tank just with this one custom sump. But it was a custom job built to my specifications. I needed it to fit within the stand. I knew what this protein skimmer needed to operate, and I've waited too damn long to get this project up and going, so I just pulled the trigger and paid the guy. So a couple months go by, and I'm getting pretty far into the build on the 260-gallon system, and one day I'm just sitting at my desk, and I'm kind of looking at the tank, and I'm thinking to myself, how much money have I put into this build? And I'm listing stuff off, and then I get to the sump, and I'm like, man, I paid a lot of money for that. And looking at it, I just kind of thought to myself, all it is a glorified 33 long aquarium. And then I go further down the rabbit hole, and like, man, I could have just took my 33 long gallon aquarium that I have downstairs, put some baffles in it, and I would have saved myself $400. The only difference between that sump and a 33-gallon long that I have downstairs is it's rimless and it's 2 inches longer. That's it. And that $400 that I spent, obviously, the good thing about it was a local business. I guess he did do a good job on it, and I'm not trying to downplay that at all. But overall, it is probably the most expensive mistake that I have made in the hobby to date. And it really, being a do-it-yourself guy, I don't know why I never saw that I could have just built the sump myself. I don't know why. I think I just had time constraints, and I just was ready to go and wanted to get this system up and going. And that's why we do it-yourself projects to begin with, so you can save money. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week's video. If you're new to Mad Hatter's Reef, please hit the subscribe button. And if you found this video helpful, hit the like button. I'll see you guys next time right here with a brand new video.
Okay.